Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This time around, we're going to go with some more Dark Souls 2 action, and in this action, we're doing some PvP and story time with Straid of Olaphis.
The kingdom of Olaphis did not fall to swords or fire. It drowned quietly in its own hubris, buried under the weight of the endless crawling curse of the undead. But before the walls crumbled, and before the name of Olaphis was erased from the maps of Drangleic, there was Straid. Straid was not born to royalty, nor did he inherit his power. In a world where men feared the dark, Straid stared directly into it. While the court sorcerers of Olaphis spent their lives mimicking the old predictable arts of Vinheim, Straid did something entirely different. He experimented. He looked at the souls of vanquished monstrous entities, the great beasts and demons that plagued the borders of the kingdom, and he did not see terrors. He saw fuel. He discovered that a soul was not just a source of life. It was a blueprint. By applying his immense willpower and specialized catalyst arrays, Straid learned to unravel the essence of a fallen creature and reweave it into devastating magic. He called it soul trading, the transmutation of raw soul energy into tangible power. His rise to prominence was meteoric. When the giant ironclad invaders from the southern seas marched upon the capital, the king's conventional mages fled in terror. Straid walked out to the battlements alone. With a cruel, mocking laugh that would become his trademark, he unleashed a spell born from the soul of a scorched elemental. A rain of brilliant, piercing light detonated across the battlefield, vaporizing the vanguard in seconds. The king immediately appointed Straid as the Grand Mage of the realm. He was given the highest tower in the Bastille, boundless resources, and an army of apprentices. He was revered as a savior, yet Straid despised them all. To Straid, the politicians were short-sighted fools. The king was a coward who shivered in his robes, and the common folk were nothing but insects waiting to be crushed by the turning gears of fate. He did not hide his contempt. He walked through the golden halls of Olaphis with a sneer, mocking the incompetence of his peers. Feeble minds, he would mutter to the lesser sorcerers, who failed to grasp his advanced equations. Do you truly believe your sparks can illuminate the dark? He grew so powerful that his very presence began to warp the magic around him. He crafted rings of unparalleled protection and cataloged powerful spells from different specialties. He knew he was the smartest man in the kingdom. He knew he was irreplaceable, and that absolute certainty was his undoing. The curse of the dark sign arrived like a slow plague. At first, it was a few soldiers in the lower wards, then the artisans. Soon the noble houses were locking their own children in cellars as the dark ring manifested on their flesh, draining their humanity and leaving them as mindless, aggressive hollows. The king panicked. He turned to Straid, begging for a cure, a weapon, or a solution to cleanse the kingdom. Straid merely laughed. He told the king that the curse was not a disease to be cured, but a fundamental law of the universe. The fire fades, the dark rises, and the weak are weeded out. It was natural. It was beautiful in its inevitability. The king did not find it beautiful. Fear is a dangerous thing, especially when trapped in the chest of a desperate ruler. The king's advisors, long humiliated by Straid's sharp tongue and arrogant demeanor, saw their opportunity. They whispered in the monarch's ear, "If Straid will not save us, he will surely outlive us. He is hoarding secrets. When we are all hollows, he will rule the ashes and start anew." A plot was hatched to subdue Straid. They knew they could not defeat Straid in a magical duel. His power and skill was unmatched. They would use trickery. They invited Straid to the High Council under the pretense of a grand presentation. They claimed that an ancient soul had been recovered by an expedition, a soul of a poison-breathing dragon from an age long forgotten. Straid's curiosity was piqued. The prospect of analyzing a unique soul, gaining more knowledge, and the possibility of a new spell was too alluring to pass up. He entered the grand chamber alone, his heavy robes trailing behind him, his staff resting casually in his hand. "Where is this soul?" Straid demanded, his voice echoing off the vaulted ceilings. "Do not waste my time. Every second I spend here is valuable time away from my current projects and research." The king did not answer. He merely raised a hand. From the shadows behind the pillars, a dozen clerics and sorcerers stepped forward. They threw urns filled with a thick, gray mist, the breath of basilisks. The shattered urns unleashed clouds of toxic, magical fog. Straid sneered, "Miserable fools! You think you can—" His voice was caught in his throat. The fog was fast-acting. Straid felt a sudden, terrible coldness seize his ankles. He looked down and saw his boots turning into solid, gray stone. The gray was crawling up his shins, locking his joints, hardening his muscles. "Insolent curs!" Straid roared, his voice cracking as his throat began to calcify. He tried to conjure a spell intending to detonate a blast, to kill all he could in the chamber. But the stone grew faster than his magic could form. Everyone watched in awe as the greatest mage of their age was encased in stone. In his final moments, Straid did not beg. He did not cry out in fear. He just glared, with eyes full of pure, unadulterated malice. With a final click, the stone closed over his face, freezing his sneer into eternity. His body was now his prison.